60 Minutes Rewind.
It's a name that may not ring a bell for many of you, but by any definition, the list of America's greatest playwrights includes August Wilson.
Pulitzer Prize award-winning Pittsburgh native August Wilson is arguably one of the most important playwrights of our time. With 10 plays in his American Century cycle, each work stands as an illuminant into the African American experience throughout the 20th century. His works tackle many themes: the legacy of slavery and the piano lesson, the question of justice and fences, or even the necessity of violence and liberating oppressed peoples. Allow me to explain. In 1961, political philosopher Frantz Fanon published his work, The Wretched of the Earth, the first chapter labeled On Violence. Within the focus of decolonization, Frantz sought to analyze the specificities of violence. He posed the question, what are the negative and the positive impacts of violence? To Fanon, violence is the defining characteristic, the natural state of colonial rule. But the violence he discusses is not just physical. It also cultivates its form of cultural discrimination against the oppressed subjects. Therefore, the only way to truly liberate oneself, to Fanon, is to find an outlet where the violence of oppression can be released. This brings us to the 1940s set Seven Guitars, starring the up-and-coming musician Floyd "Schoolboy" Barton and his gaggle of intricate companions in the Pittsburgh Hill District. In the wake of Floyd's death, the work follows the memories of his friends, one of which being King Hedley I. Hedley, a Caribbean immigrant with the dream of one day being a big man, believes in both saints and spirits, more specifically the ghost of Buddy Bolden, a famous jazz trumpet player. He also dreams of one day having a son who might free Black people from systemic oppression, a theme that permeates the character as the work progresses. Another theme exhibited by this character is violence, a sort that is displayed visually, but ultimately has a more symbolic meaning. At the end of the first act of Seven Guitars, Hedley brutally murders a rooster that had been previously annoying the other characters of the work. He does this in front of the other characters, making the scene feel almost like a ritual. In some ways, Hedley's murderous act can be seen as an act of liberation, guided by his exclamation that the rooster was too good live for any of these characters. Similarly, in the beginning of Act 2, Hedley uncovers another murderous act in his conversation with Ruby, that he killed a man, a Black man, in his past, and did not feel sorry for it. This violent act, again, is a way for Wilson to symbolize violence as a means of liberation against oppression. The final scene of the work ends in the death of Floyd Barton at the hands of Hedley.
You are going to kill me!
This scene highlights Hedley's final act of violence as he seeks true freedom, with the money he has stolen working as a means for him to literally own a plantation, but symbolically take his power back and become a big man against white oppressors. Now, to highlight the cathartic nature of violence, I decided that the epitome of such a space was a rage room, but I did not have access to one. Instead, I decided to recreate the experience with the help of my 9-year-old brother-in-law, who has an insane case of ADHD. A wicked combo. I mean, look at the scar on this little dude's face. Talk about some true Wilson symbolism. So, I set up some obstacles, gave him a hammer and a Nerf gun, and most importantly, a reason to be mad. Even though the funny example I've shown here is watered down in comparison to the rich themes in Wilson's work, the essence is still there. Violence, mentally displayed or physically enacted, can at times become a symbol for both catharsis and liberation from oppression. We teach it,
And then give it one good.
we watch it,
Saf getting moving that big.
we listen to it on the radio, but most importantly, we seek to understand it, to make sense of it, to bring light to it. A means of simultaneous destruction and reconstruction, Wilson uses the motif of violence to comment on the experience of African American individuals. This is not to say, however, that Wilson is a promoter of violence, but rather an observer of it. To end, I would like to leave you all with this quote. Confront the dark parts of yourself and work to banish them with illumination and forgiveness. Your willingness to wrestle with your demons will cause your angels to sing.